Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
Hey Bronco Nation, this is Boise State football wide receiver Ben Ford. I've had to face some setbacks on the field this past season, but toughness isn't about staying down. It's about getting back up. I am proud to represent Lithia Ford of Boise, where you can find the largest selection of Ford trucks that are built tough and, like me, handle the hits and keep pushing forward. Come check out the incredible inventory and competitive pricing at Lithia Ford of Boise. And when you buy here, you're not just getting a truck, you're supporting Boise State athletics and Lithia Ford NIL partnerships. Come see us at Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
The final buzzer is sounded on another night of Mountain West basketball, and it's time to break down the action with Tom Moser on another night in the Mountain West, presented by Circus Sports. Headed to Las Vegas for the Mountain West tournament in March? Make sure to stay at Circa Las Vegas and watch all the action at Stadium Swim, where the sports are on 365 days a year. Another night in the Mountain West has interviews, analysis, opinions after the final Mountain West basketball game of the day wraps up. All BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. The title sponsor of Bronco Nation News is Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out our full inventory of vehicles online at lithiafordboise.com. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Did your team just get a big win? Suffer a bad loss? Come discuss it with us. Send us a comment or question in the ICCU YouTube chat, or leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/BNN. Now let's go to the Sun Cruiser Studios and join Tom Moser for another night in the Mountain West on Bronco Nation News.
What's up, everybody? You are here in the Sun Cruiser Studio. It's another night in the Mountain West. We're running low on episodes here, but we're here. It's actually almost another morning everywhere in the United States. Few minutes shy of Saturday morning out west, almost 3 a.m. here on the East Coast, 1 a.m. in the Mountain Time Zone. I'm your host, Tom Moser. I never really listen to the words from the ads in the beginning, but I just happened to this time, and the guy says, did your team just suffer a big win, a tough loss? Come talk about it. And that's what just happened right there. Some of you had your team just get a big win, and some of you just had your team suffer a bad loss. And so we'll talk about all of that. Obviously, the first game, the game we just watched, a little bit of a preview tomorrow, talk about what's to come here on the show. First, let's give a shout out to Sun Cruiser. It's amazing how many, and this is fantastic. This is the purpose of sponsoring things, right? Being a sponsor, running ads, all of that stuff. Can't tell you how many messages and tweets I get with people taking pictures of the Sun Cruiser, and I think it's fantastic. So they should appreciate that. They should probably float me a little something extra the way that we've given them some business here. But again, that's the whole purpose of that relationship, and appreciate you guys that do that. We are here in the Sun Cruiser Studio. They've been along as the title sponsor for this show since the beginning back in December, along with Circa. I know that the time out there and the tournament this week is coming to an end, But if you're got nothing to do tomorrow morning or afternoon, or even after the game tomorrow night, head over to Circa, see what they have to offer. Also, we did get over to the 600 subscribers that I was asking for last night. If you have not done so yet, please go subscribe there at the bottom at Mountain West BNN to the show. It's not going anywhere. We'll see if we change the name or we do something else. Like BJ said, who knows? No decision's been made. I like to continue covering the teams that deserve the coverage, but that's a conversation for another day. We'll see how long we go here. We'll see how many of you guys are in here. It's very late for everybody, but it's the end of the season, and that game was worthy of discussion. Very, very good game. Have not seen many classic games this the last 3 days of the tournament so far. That was one right there, a fitting way for the rivalry to kind of go. I forget where I saw the article, somewhere on social media, that maybe it was Rocco that put something out that talks between the two teams to schedule something for next year didn't go very far, and they're not going to play next year. Look, we all kind of knew that was coming, right? Like the talks were going to be this, like San Diego State, we're not coming to your place to play. And then New Mexico saying, well, we're not going to go to your place. Do you want to play neutral? And that probably didn't pan out for one reason or the other, and hence it fell through. So I don't know when we'll see them play again, and it's a shame. They do bring out the best in each other. They played 3 very good, very close games this year. I mean, all decided by one possession, basically, maybe a foul here or there late that took it above that one possession marker, but all 3 games went down to the wire. And if they play 7 more times to get up to 10, 8 or 9 of the games would be decided by one possession, regardless of where they would play the games. So an awesome game there. Hopefully, I'm sure most people here on the East Coast were not awake for it. I know my buddies they dozed off on the group chat. Didn't really hear from them much after the game started. It's a late when I get it, but it's a shame because really good game. And we'll talk about it now. And if you guys are watching later then on replay on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon before the final, all good too. So I want to talk about the other game first, and there's some other things to hit on. As I said, we'll see how long we go, how many of you are in here talking live. I always get to your comments, so we'll see how that goes. And then I have some thoughts on the bubble and both of the teams that we just watched, some other off-court news, things like that. But let's talk about the early game. Let's hit that one first. And, the fact of the matter is, let's just say, first of all, the 2 best teams are going to play tomorrow, right? The 2 most talented teams, the 2 best teams are going to play tomorrow. They didn't always play that way over the course of the season. We had moments where New Mexico certainly looked like they were in there. We had moments where maybe Grand Canyon looked like they were up there. We had moments where we were frustrated by San Diego State, to be sure, right? Even Aztec fans were, and it was deserved, whether some fans want to admit it or not. They were not super for various points of the season, but the bottom line is they got it together here when it mattered. San Diego State did. Now, Utah State's been the top since the beginning, right? They were on fire. They played really good basketball to start the season, won the regular season title. They'll go for a rare sweep of the 2 titles tomorrow and try to, I don't know if they really care about it, but try to keep this a 1-bid league. We'll see. But they'll also try to improve their seeding, okay? I've seen 8-9s for them. They think, and I think this is a stretch, Calhoun thinks he can get up to a 6 if they win tomorrow. That's probably not going to happen, but they might be able to get up to a 7. We'll see. And if not, if they lose tomorrow, they'll definitely be in the 8-9 game, I would imagine, right? And maybe a 7 if they win, but certainly don't want to be in the 8-9. But it's better than nothing. It is what it is. You play who's in front of you. If you can win a game, that's fantastic, okay? Unfortunately, we didn't get good Nevada today. And to be honest, okay, let me put these up on a screen here. To be honest, the second half yesterday was really the high watermark of Nevada since they knocked off New Mexico a month ago in Lawler, right? They had a good stretch where they beat both San Diego State. I'm sorry, not San Diego State. They beat Utah State and New Mexico in Lawler. And you're like, okay, it's an Alford team. He coaches his guys up. He has a good game plan. They're tough to defend when they're running off screens and campers making shots. Price is a load inside. He'll have a good defensive game plan. They knocked those two teams off, and then they just kind of never met that level again. The second half yesterday, yes, was very well played by the Wolfpack, but again, there was some contribution in there from Grand Canyon kind of gagging a little bit and not playing good basketball, okay? And you just didn't get a good effort by them tonight. Now, as I always say, both things can be true. Let's not take anything away from Utah State here. Let me get this off while I'm going on this rant. Let's not take anything away from Utah State because they played fantastic. Their defense was impressive. It was borderline smothering. And for a team not known for their defense, they can play good defense at times. They're not known for their defense. It was really good today. Okay, it was really good. And the big guns for Nevada did not, as I'll put the stats back up in a minute, the big guns for Nevada did not get it done. And it's hard to beat good teams when your horses, they don't run, right? It's difficult. That's all there is to it. And like they just didn't have the edge. They didn't have, even in the first half when it was they were hanging around that 5 to 7 point marker most of the last 10 minutes and a half. You just got the feeling, I don't want to say that Utah State was toying with them, but you just got the feeling that, man, this has the potential to get spread out quickly. And when the second half started, it did. They didn't match the energy of the Aggies out of the locker room. Alford had to burn a timeout 2 or 3 minutes in, and it was up to 14. And they never really got it within a working margin the rest of the way. I mean, they never got run off the floor. They kept it in within a distance where, it was complete. It was interesting if the Aggies fall apart or if they make 2 or 3 threes in a row. And it played in that 10 to 15 range for much of the second half. Disappointing. Would have liked to have seen a better effort from them. And that doesn't mean that they didn't try hard, okay? It just means that they didn't have the full concentration. They weren't dialed in. They didn't get peak efforts from some of their guys. I saw some fans, third game in 3 days. I don't really want to hear that. Their first game in there was Air Force, okay? And I could go back and look at the numbers, but I remember, I think one guy, I think it was Camper, played more than 19 minutes. He played like 23 minutes in that game. That was basically a scrimmage. That is what you would do in a practice running that. You play 15 minutes in a game. That's what that was. So, yes, did they play 3 games in 3 days? They did. They also had the easiest game in the country possible for your first game in that stretch. Okay. So I'm not really buying that. Okay. They're 20 to 22-year-old young men in peak physical condition. And I know I get it. I say it all the time. It's difficult to play that many minutes. Look, they played an extra few minutes from their opponent, who also played yesterday afternoon. So I'm not buying that. I don't want to hear that. That you could just tell they weren't dialed in the same that they were yesterday. And it's unfortunate because I would have liked to have seen a good game because they played them tough twice in the regular season. Let's look at his stats here. I know I was rambling on there with the stats on the screen. Aggie shoot 45%, Wolfpack 41%. Nevada made one more 3. Utah State didn't even shoot the ball well from deep, but a couple of those 3s were fake. Those were A-Rod makes in the last couple minutes when the game was decided. Aggies take a lot more free throws, and I have a comment to make on that in a second. 15 turnovers is too many for Nevada. It's too many. 22 points off the turnovers for Utah State. That hurts, right? Rebounding pretty even. And individually, quickly, and then let me get this off, and I'll just kind of go on that. And then I want to say something about the foul shots and fouls in general, where it came to this game. Balance for the Aggies. Collins, Allen, Falslev, all 12. El Amin, 15. Templin, 11. 5 guys in double figures. Really good stuff. They also had guys all over the glass. Collins, 7. Allen, 9. Falslev, 5. Keller, 4. El Amin, 6. So Allen went 12, 9, and 6. That's pretty damn good. Falslev went 12, 5, and 5. So he didn't force shots tonight. He only took 8. He scores only 12, but he has 5 boards and 5 assists. That's why he's your league MVP, right? Again, I'll say it. Perryman, no bueno. 8 minutes, 1 turnover. Did have 1 assist, 0 for 2 from the floor. He's a liability right now. And, I hate to point that out. Colby King was good. Gary Clark, I don't know what he must be in Calhoun's doghouse. I know Anderson's getting a few of his minutes, but Clark's a guy who early on in the season, I and Aggie fans were counting on to be like a serious player and contributor. And he has the ability to do it. They might need it tomorrow, or more importantly, they might need it next Thursday or Friday, right, to advance to the weekend. And so, you need to get a little bit more out of him. As we said with the pack, Camper, Price, and Comer, 4, 6, 6, 424, 25%. I mean, not good enough. Weems took 17 shots, made 7, not bad, but 0 for 6 from 3. Not super. It's hard to fault a guy who goes for 17 and 9. Okay. I mean, he played his butt off, but nobody else really came along for the ride. Price, 6.7 boards. He doesn't get tremendous lift off his feet. For as good as he is, for as strong as he is, his weight and his strength is distributed like awkwardly, because he doesn't like go up and power through guys a lot. He draws a lot of fouls. He's inconsistent from the line, and he just doesn't get off his feet super well. So he's a very good player, but he needs some improvement. We'll see if he's back. Who knows? Again, I don't count on anybody being back. So I'm treating everything like these guys are all one-year free agents and mercenaries, and they're going to go wherever they want. So the guys that come back, I'll believe it when I see it. And that goes for everybody in this conference, okay? Nobody's immune to that on any team. They're just not. Bailey at 10, but they're just not enough. And look, the fact is, I said it all along from the start of the year. This wasn't a great shooting team. That's why I was glad when they didn't fire a lot of threes up. And they really didn't tonight. They shot a few down a stretch when they needed to, because they needed to make up points in a hurry. But they weren't a great shooting team, not a great offensive team. And that leads me to the point where, it frustrated me. First of all, I hate the sideline interviews, and I made that comment. You guys agree with me. Now the only good thing about the game starting on that Bandit, like CBS Sports app or whatever the hell it was online, is that there's no commercials, right? So they stay there with the crew through the media timeouts, because it's not on TV. It's on some renegade website, right? And they don't have to deal with the ads. And so Calhoun calls a timeout, not a media timeout. We all know the drill, right? We've watched enough of these games on CBS Sports, whatever. They're contractually obligated to give one sideline interview per game. Somebody else has to do something at the half. They'll send a player over, an assistant or whatever it is. And you have to answer 2 questions, right? And normally it would come like at some point in immediate timeout. Well, this was one where Calhoun literally called a timeout himself because he was furious at a 7-0 Nevada run, and then they go over and grab him. You think he wants to come over after he just called a timeout and spend a third of that time answering like 2 token questions about absolute rubbish that it's just like filler? It's so dumb. But then Alford comes on for his, and he was salty, and it was halfway through the first half, like barely 10 minutes have been played, if that. And you could tell he was like real short. He was salty, didn't want to do it, not happy with how the game was playing out. Maybe he could tell his guys weren't engaged, whatever. But like they didn't even like get the whole question in. They just came back, and his sentiment was basically that, we're not getting to the foul line. We took a ton last night. They're not calling anything now. And my thought is, like, look, we know a lot of Nevada's offense over the last handful of years has been built around getting to the foul line. But, like, that can't be the whole, like, sole identity of your offense, right? Like, let's draw fouls. It can't be, or it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, right? I love Alford, respect him. I've said that many times on here. On my pod, I have his book from when I was a kid and read his book Playing for Night probably 3 times. Okay. I respect the guy. He knows more in his finger than I know. And he's a fantastic coach. Okay. I also happen to think that he's kind of not really in it the way he used to be, a la Jay Wright, Tom Izzo, Bill Self, the old guard, because of the way the sport has changed. Right. But I'm not down with that, right? Like, you can't just be looking to draw fouls. Like, that's like when you play in Little League Baseball, and that's the equivalent of just having your team go up there and try and draw walks because the other pitcher can't throw a strike. Like, swing the bat and get a base hit and get on base, right? Like, let's not try to draw walks, okay? Let's not just try and focus on getting fouls drawn. Also, Steve, like last night, or yesterday afternoon for you, it turned into an S show in the second half with the fouls. So the first half, as has been the case in most of the games in this tournament, they let it go early, and then it turns into a mess in the second half. It was 10 minutes into the game, and he's salty about the fouls already. So I wasn't really down with that. I was kind of frustrated by that. Like, if that's what you're drawing your hopes on, you're kind of in trouble to begin with, right? Let's call it like it is, okay? So wasn't a big fan of that. And ultimately, he was right. They had no answer for the Aggies defense, who was 100% bought in. They got no breathing room. And look, I said that the big guns for Nevada didn't show up. That's because they didn't have a lot of good looks. The looks they didn't make, and they didn't have a lot of good looks. Credit to Utah State's defense. They were far the better team here. They deserved to be in the championship game. I was not sure that I said that they wouldn't win it. And look, they've gotten to this point now, and so it's a toss-up tomorrow, right? So they certainly have a chance to win it. Nevada, it does seem like Chris Murray reported a week ago-ish, maybe it was 2 weeks now at some point, that they did submit a bid to host the NIT. And if they still would like to do that, I'm pretty sure they will be in the NIT, because like you saw today, I saw, and I didn't even go looking for it. I just found it on my timeline, a tweet that Virginia Tech is they won't accept an NIT bid. Like, they're on the bubble, for Pete's sake. Like, they might even get an NCAA bid, and here they are turning down NIT bids. And then I saw something that Cincinnati, who we'll talk about in a few minutes, Cincinnati turned down a bid to the Crown. I don't know if that means they're turning down an NIT bid or not, but I saw they're turning down a Crown bid. Well, they don't have a coach, so they're likely to not have a roster in a few days. I guess you can't legally or literally enter the portal for another week or two, but those guys aren't going to stay. They don't have a coach. They're not going to get an interim coach to coach in the NIT or the Crown. You're going to have other teams with the same deal. Like, this is what secondary tournaments are turning into. Very few teams that from the power leagues are going to want to enter these things. And then, like, Nevada wants to go in it. That's great. They're going to find themselves playing in basically like a mid-major like tournament, because the power schools aren't going to want to do it. You didn't make the NCAA tournament. It's not good enough. And so I think that's what we'll find out really quick on like Sunday night, who's in, who's out, who they're taking, who's not willing to do it, all that stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see Nevada playing, and for Pac fans, I hope we do. But again, it's not what their goal was. They fell a little short here. At least they won a conference tournament game, a good win yesterday, but disappointing that they couldn't replicate it. Now, as far as the Aggies go, like I said, credit to them for getting here. They probably were already locked in to the big dance before today and yesterday, for that matter, and they could have kind of just mailed it in the way some other teams did in other conferences. Although not a lot. You see a lot of 1 and 2 seeds in their conference tournament championship. But they came out and played hard. They had a point to prove yesterday, avenging the losses to UNLV. Certainly, they came out and played well today. They were engaged. They, as I mentioned, great defense, all that stuff. Now, you can't, like, I buried the lead here. You can't talk about this game without talking about the elephant in the room, which is the stuff going on at Cincinnati. They fire Wes Miller today. November, December, that looked like a foregone conclusion. Even in the early parts of January, it looked like a foregone conclusion that he was going to get canned. But they started to play good basketball at the end of January, most of February, and it seemed like he was going to be safe. But ultimately, they fell short of the tournament. Although, who knows? Like, I mean, they're on the bubble, but they're not going to get in. They're deep down the bubble. And so they fire Wes Miller after 5 years. Now, we all know the deal. I think it was Norlander or one of those guys that tweeted out today in the same tweet as Miller being fired at the bottom that Calhoun's expected to be the front runner. So we know the drill, right? It's his alma mater, coach there as a young up-and-comer on one of the staffs for Huggins. And he's got ties there, coached at Youngstown in Ohio. So it seems like a perfect fit, okay? He turned down, or however it worked, he probably could have gotten the West Virginia job had he wanted it, right? Didn't fit. Maybe that was because he knew Cincinnati was going to open. Who knows? But the fact is, like, Utah State fans are already starting to come to terms with this. Okay. It's very similar to 2 years ago. It's also very similar to last year with Nico Medved leaving for Minnesota during this very time. The Sprinkle one broke like a week later. But the common theme here is these guys leaving for their alma maters, right? It's different than last year with Patino. And it's not a knock on New Mexico, but I said it last year on my pod. Patino was out of there, right? It didn't matter where he went. Patino was similar to Ryan Odom. Odom couldn't wait to get out of Logan like 3 or 4 years ago, whatever the hell it was at this point. He couldn't wait. I guess it was 3 years. It was the end of 23. He was gone wherever he could get a job, as evidenced by the fact that he went to a mid-major at VCU. No different. He wanted to get back east and get out of Logan, okay, for several reasons. And it panned out for him. He laddered up from VCU then, and he's at Virginia right now. They're going to be a 2 or 3 seed in the tournament when it's announced on Sunday, okay? So he made the right decision. Patino, he just wanted to get back east. It was nothing against New Mexico. He's a big city guy. He did what he could there. He won 2 championships in back-to-back years, 1 regular season, 1 conference tournament. And so he was out of there wherever he could get a job. It ended up being Xavier. I don't think Xavier was his preferred landing spot, but he wanted to strike while the iron was hot, knew that New Mexico wasn't following some of the other top guns to the pack. Didn't probably figure Dent was going to leave, which for a paycheck, which he did. He had already lost Toppin. He probably just knew it wasn't going to be the same round 3, and he was out. Okay. Calhoun didn't do that because he probably could have pushed and gotten the West Virginia job last year, right? We remember that. Sprinkle, I'm not saying he only would have left and would not have gone elsewhere, but he left for his alma mater, okay, up at Washington. Hasn't gone great for him up there yet. Probably has another year before he starts to get some pressure or whatever. But he left for his alma mater. Medved probably only would have left for his alma mater. Now, I'm saying only, like, look, the Kansases and Kentuckys aren't coming for these guys yet. They have to prove a little bit more at a bigger school, okay? But for the jobs that they could get, these guys are only leaving for their alma maters. And I think that's probably the case, too, with Calhoun. You can't begrudge a guy for going back to his alma mater. It seems to be a perfect fit. Last year at this very time, it was like an unwritten or unspoken secret. It was out in the open for most people that Medved was going to go, but you didn't really hear an official talk about it because they were still playing, right? And then everybody just kind of waited until the season was over, and then he was gone. And I think this is kind of what you'll see here now, right? Like they even announced today that Miller's buyout drops on April 1st. Well, we hope Utah State's playing on April 1st. They probably won't be because that means they're in the Final Four, and I think nobody expects that. But they're just going to have to – it's just going to be one of those things where it's not official until Utah State loses next weekend, whenever that might be. At Utah State, they're going to have to find somebody else the same way that they did 3 other times in the last 5 years, and they'll be fine. Now, it does impact some of the returning guys, whether it's Falslev or El Amin or Templin, anybody else except for Drake Allen, right? Or I don't even know who else they might lose. But so that's an issue for sure, okay? But it is what it is. Now, I wondered, the natural first thought is, when this stuff broke today, how is that going to affect Utah State tonight? But then I think, well, these guys all go places every year anyway. They probably won't care. But then I think, maybe they will, because Falslev, I think, wants to come back. But does he want to play for another coach? He was recruited by Odom, and he played for Sprinkle. Now he's played for Calhoun. Does he want to go through that again? Or does he just want to make a clean break and get a really nice paycheck somewhere? We'll see. Okay, it'll be interesting. I know he's very connected in there. He is the mayor of Logan. He's from a very nearby campus. He stayed there for 3 years. It's going to be hard to keep him for 1 more year with a new coach coming in if that's what ends up happening, okay? So we'll see. But look, they're to this point now. They're not going to have a letdown tomorrow. They'll play hard tomorrow. They're playing for a championship. That's one of the coolest things you can do as a coach or a player is play for a championship, okay? It might not be the Final Four, but you're playing for a championship. There's a trophy to be lifted up tomorrow and a banner on the line. and they're going to come out and play hard, and they'll deal with all the repercussions of the Calhoun stuff later. So good job by the Aggies today. They really showed up and got it done, and they deserve to be playing today. Now, on to the other game. Let me get to some of these quick. Let's see how much the Aztecs have left in the tank. That was a classic. They expended a lot of energy. Both teams did. Utah State may not have. New Mexico and the Aztecs did 100%. Jake wishes that New Mexico could make the tournament. They're deserving despite their record. I wish they could make it too. I hate to say it. I don't know if they're deserving. I'll expand on that in a little bit. Definitely a way to end the rivalry, Matt. A total classic. It wasn't 88-86 like Iowa State and Arizona today, which was another classic. It was a different kind of classic. 64-62. Fantastic game. Spencer says both San Diego State and Utah State expended a lot of emotional energy tonight. The Aggies will get an extra 3 or 4 hours of rest, and that might make the difference. Yeah. Jake, I mean, it's been all over, and it's fantastic. They're building their brand, and I think they should give me some credit, and you guys for purchasing too. But yeah, we all know the deal by now. Let's do some math here. 6 o'clock Eastern tip-off for me. The game ends a little before 3. That's about 21 hours. No, it's less than that. No, it's like 15 hours from now. The Aztecs got to go back at it. The Aggies will have a little bit more rest, but 15 hours after going through that grinder, that's going to take its toll. No doubt about it. Okay. Tell Sun Crew to start selling them in Utah. I will do that. I absolutely will do that. Larry is not going to miss this Lobo roster. ASU will have their weakest roster in a century if they hire Olin. Before I get to any of that, I do want to – I'll save it for later because I want to talk about the game. Appreciate you adding a sub there, Emmy. I do appreciate that. Free throws, yes, that needs to be discussed. And that's one of my thoughts about, they deserve to be in. We'll talk about that in a second. They should have forced them to make 1-and-1s. We see how 1-and-1s go. They're the bane of my existence as a fan, as a coach. I just never have confidence that the team that I'm rooting for, which is both in this instance, are going to make their 1-and-1s. I just don't. They're difficult. You shoot them differently. Your mind works differently. Crap, I got to make this one to get a second one. I agree. Pressure, make them make those free throws. They never had to make 1-and-1s. Exactly. I agree with you totally, Emmy. Totally agree with you there. Missed free throws, James, 110%. Never in doubt, Commander. Yeah, well, your boy Magoon showed up today. He was the X factor, no doubt about it, although BJ made the big bucket. But, yeah, John pounding that elevation drum. I mean, there's a little bit to that. But, yeah, we'll talk about the clamps that they put on Hall in a second. All right, so let me get to these underappreciated False only played 31. Is that what he played? Yeah, for sure. That helps instead of playing 37. Delaware got smoked. They did not. No run out of Delaware here, Maybe in football. Baseball's not starting out too well for him either. I will. I'm very close to I'm in Newcastle County, very close to Newcastle, 10-ish minutes away. Tomorrow, I will probably be sleeping during the afternoon before the game. DJ, go Aztecs. All right, so let's talk about that game. Yeah, they could get 3 teams in if the Aztecs make it, and obviously Gonzaga and Utah State for sure. If Calhoun rumors, it could next week, Derek. It could. It didn't today. It might not tomorrow. It could next week. But we'll see. Great game is right, T-Mac. Respect to both teams. Great game. Absolutely. Danny Sprinkle, Carson came from Montana State, and then Utah State, and then went to Washington. He came to Utah State from Montana State. That's how you were able to bring Brown and Osabor down, because they came from there with Sprinkle. This was the expected game from 2009, or the most mean or mode, I guess you would say, right? Graduated from Montana State. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, Carson. You are correct. His father went to Washington and played football at Washington. That's what it was. He is not a Washington graduate. I misspoke. His father is a Washington graduate and played football there. His family has a lot of ties there to Washington. So if you're right about that, I was on the wrong track with there. Yeah, Dent was a wizard tonight. Man, oh man. I'd heard from people a few weeks ago that Dent was struggling when UCLA went through those ruts. Man, he's really upped his game here in the last few weeks, and UCLA's on a roll. Since he will have to pony up, Spencer says $4 million for Miller for his buyout, or for his severance, $4 million for Calhoun's buyout, and then pay for his new contract, and then the NIL investments for the roster. I know that seems like a lot, and it is a lot, but that's the price of doing business these days as a power forward. Like, that ahead of time. And I don't think they would have fired Miller if they didn't think they had somebody lined up, likely Calhoun, right? Because, again, there were rumors down the stretch here that they were going to keep him. Yeah, Spencer. Yeah, you beat me to it as I'm trailing here. I'm only a few minutes behind in the comments instead of like 40 minutes behind. Keys to the title game. We'll get there in about 10 minutes. Devin, hang with me. Yes, Goon. That's what I'm going to talk about right now. Yeah, that was an awful out of a timeout, Derek. You can't throw the ball away there. Like, holy cow. Like, yeah, think about it. Aztecs had the game. I wouldn't say in the bag, but they had the game. And yeah, Richard, he might not be at Washington 12 months from now. We'll see. He needs to get it going next year. Tough league, but he still needs to get it going. New Mexico had a shot to win the game at the end. Now, granted, it was only 6/10, but they had a shot to win the game. Wild. Now, let me put these on the screen here. We'll put this on the screen, talk about the classic that we watched, 64-62. Awesome defensive effort by both teams. New Mexico, I don't think they made a shot from the field. Albury's layup there was their only shot that they made in like the last 7 minutes. Now, the first key to the game was the absolute sticker defense that largely Bird played on Hall. What did Hall do? 1 for 10 and 1 for 7. And that 7 included that prayer at the end. He just couldn't get any looks. 3 points. So when your all-conference first teamer goes for 3 points, like, you have no shot to win the game. I have no idea how that – well, I do have an idea, but it's a miracle that they were in the game as long as they were. They tied the game up with 25 seconds left on an Albury drive. And that's with your big gun scoring 3 points on 1 for 10 shooting. Now, he didn't play poorly. He had 5 rebounds. He had 4 assists. He didn't force a ton of shots. He just couldn't get any looks. So credit to Bird, credit to the Aztec game plan for stickering, or, some people, we would use the word tagging, right? You're going to play tag defense, right? You're not leaving them. So somebody's driving by you and you can kind of feel them going behind. You're not helping off a Hall. Somebody drives from the baseline, you're not sliding over to help from weak side to leave your guy to help, okay? If somebody gets a look somewhere else, so be it. You're tagging your guy all over the floor. And as a result, Hall scores 3 points. So great game plan by Dutcher and his staff. He did some different things, and Dick out pointed it out. I don't know that they did anything different schematically against Bouillon. It was just the fact that Guath was more impactful tonight. He played what? Guath played 28 minutes, probably the most he's played since all year. Maybe the most he's played all year. I'd have to look that up. Maybe an Aztec fan can tell me, but probably the most minutes he's played all year. And Bouillon, what a coincidence, played 26 minutes. So he was out. He was a massive disruption to Bouillon, who scored 8 points. He did grab 10 boards. He missed his handful of free throws. I'll talk about that in a minute. But, man, if it wasn't for Albury, this game would have been ugly, okay? Because let's face it, New Mexico's offense in the second half basically turned into Albury driving downhill every possession and trying to force his way into the lane and draw a foul or finish at the rim, try to finish at the rim. He was very efficient, 7 for 10, 4 for 6 at the line, made both his threes, 20 points, 3 rebounds, 3 turnovers. But I mean, look, he's trying to do it all because, your 2 big guns in Bouillon and Hall combined for 11 points. Chol made a 3. He had 4 boards, didn't do much other than that. You needed more out of him. Rock made a 3, missed 2 free throws, including a 1-and-1. So he really missed 3 free throws. Miller, 3 for 5 from the line, 6 points. Tanet played okay, but 3 for 13. I mean, that's too much for, 3 of 13. You can't do that 0 for 5 from deep. Haupt did his normal thing, 8 boards, 4 assists, played a good floor game, got that steal late. Just you needed more from some of those guys. On the other side of the coin, What do we got here? Newman played a good floor game, pushing the ball. It only shows him for 1 assist, and I'll trust that, but he played a good floor game again, 6 points, only 16 minutes. Simmons was a beast. He finishes. He's a finisher. Not everybody's a finisher. He's a finisher because he's a strong dude. 4 for 5, 8 points, 8 boards. Good job by him. Bird, 3 for 9 and only 1 for 7. 7.7 boards, and 3 assists. His defense on Hall was the number one factor in the game, hands down. Reese Waters, not a great game tonight. 5 points, 3 rebounds, only 2 turnovers, but he wasn't super, I didn't think. Heidi got banged up, 2 points, didn't do much. Gwath, of course, was the horse, 17 and 6 for 10 from the floor. Compton battled foul trouble. He was a 0 tonight. BJ was clutch. It was weird. He only made 2 out of his 7 shots, but he did have 6 rebounds and 6 assists. That's a pretty good game for your backup, backup guard. I don't want to call him a point guard, but a 6'1" guard. DeGorville had 7 points and 4 boards. Team stat wise, Lobo shoot 33%. It's not good enough. 7 for 21. Aztecs didn't shoot it great either. On the foul line, here's the thing. Turnovers were even. Rebounds, Lobos actually out-rebounded 46-43. Second chance points were even. Bench points, big edge for the Aztecs, but you expect that, right? Fast break points was big in the first half when the Lobo defense was very good in the half court, but they were giving up too many runouts and turnovers into buckets or getting beat down the floor. And when you're struggling for points, you can't give those up. Those matter. Just because they happen with 9 minutes left in the first half doesn't mean they don't matter. They matter. And it burned the Lobos late. Now, here's the big thing. Man, it's so frustrating. And I know the Aztecs missed some too, but one of the basic fundamentals of the game is shooting freaking free throws, right? And I don't need to tell this to Lobo fans. They'll be having nightmares about it. It's a psychological thing. 15 for 28, plus at least 2, if not 3 missed 1-and-1s in the halves combined. So that's another 2 misses. So at least, probably, let's say 15 for 30. And so that's the ball game. That is the ball game. Well, Waters guarded Hall at times, but they both did. You're right. Both did. Waters and Hall. Credit to both of those guys. You can't miss that many free throws, okay? When we all should know, okay, it's the only shot in basketball that is the same every time, okay? Any other shot, whether it's a layup or a dunk or a 3, they're all different. You catch them different. You're guarded different. There's bodies around you. You're rushed. You're hurried. You have time. You're at a different angle. Whatever. Every shot is different except a free throw. You stand in the same spot. You prep the same way, whether it's 1 dribble, 3 dribbles, bend your knees, take a deep breath, say a prayer, whatever the hell it is. Take 2 seconds, take 9 seconds. It's the same shot every time. I was a horrible shooter. I didn't score. I was not a scorer. I was a defender and a rebounder and a shot blocker. Okay. I did not score, but my junior year, I shot 30%, 40% from the free throw line. And then I really, really worked at it and got myself up to 80% as a senior because I worked at it and shot it the same way every time. And that there's no excuse to shoot and miss 15 free throws. I understand you're tired. I understand the pressure. I understand it's a whatever, but it's inexcusable. And so, yes, on one hand, I feel like the Lobos deserve to, I want to see them in the tournament, but man, you can't execute one of the basic fundamental principles of the sport to this extent. And it's not just tonight. You guys know this as Lobo fans. It's not just tonight. This has been an issue several times, Saturday in Logan, other times in February, where the foul line has cost you the opportunity to win the game, if not outright tonight. Okay? So, you have nobody to blame but yourself. Honestly. It's very frustrating when you put yourself in a position, you absolutely maximize your talent. The sum of your parts is greater, or the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. You exceed expectations. You squeeze everything you can out of your team, and you miss free throw after free throw after free throw after free throw. And as a result, you're in a tie game instead of being up by 3, 4, 5, 6, and you lose the game by a bucket. All right. So I didn't even mention the Davis bucket. Great drive by Davis. Great drive by Albury on the other end. But man, is that frustrating, right? So it's like, I want to see the Lobos in. But the fact is, like, the only reason that we're even having this discussion that we want to see them in, and I didn't really go through Twitter yet. I saw a couple that said, these look like tournament teams. The only reason that we're even having this discussion is because the bubble sucks. We've talked about this how many times on here the last couple weeks. The bubble sucks, okay? And everybody's losing all around the bubble. And knock on wood, again, I did it last night. We haven't really seen any bid thieves yet. Okay. I guess Miami, Ohio, and who knows, like they'll probably make it. Like there's a chance they don't, but they'll probably make it. But we have, I think we're down to like Ole Miss in the SEC and maybe like somebody in like St. Joe's in the, or somebody else in the A10. Those are really the only bid thieves left out there. Okay. So that's good. That's good. The bad thing is, after New Mexico beat, I think it was San Diego State in the pit 2 weekends ago, I remember saying, well, we need to beat both Colorado State and Utah State, and then we'll be in. And then it was like, well, let's just get one of those, and then let's make it to the final, beat Boise, beat San Diego State, and then we'll be okay. They didn't beat any of those. None. Zero. You lost to CSU at home. You lost at Utah State. Played great, but lost. So we don't get points for playing great, unfortunately. So you lost to CSU at home. You lost to Utah State. You don't play Boise. You play San Jose State. And then you lose to San Diego State. You also have a loss there at Nevada. Not a bad loss, but winnable game. You lose at home to Boise a few weeks before that. So, like, I hate to say you don't belong in because, like, I love Lobo Nation. I want to watch them in. But I can't sit here and say they deserve to be in, right? Like, I'm not going to be a homer. I call it like it is, and they probably don't deserve to be in. Now, on Sunday night, if we see some, like, rat team in ahead of them, and then maybe we could say, well, why are they in? And I get it. It's very frustrating for Lobo fans to watch that board get put up there and see last four in VCU and Santa Clara. Both teams that you beat, you hammer Santa Clara at home by 20 plus. That wasn't even a contest. You embarrassed them. They didn't want any part of you playing you that night. You run them off your own floor, and you won at VCU. And yet they're both likely going to get in, and you're not. So I get it. That's completely frustrating. The problem is, like, you're not close enough to them to have that head-to-head matter. And the fact is, Santa Clara beat St. Mary's a week ago in the semifinals, or 4 days ago in the semifinals of their conference tournament. They had it in front of them and they took it. That would have been any of your games in the last 3 weeks that I just mentioned. Nevada, Boise, CSU, Utah State, tonight, any one of those five, if you win, you're probably in, and you lost all five. Meanwhile, Santa Clara beats St. Mary's on a neutral. I don't know the rest of their schedule. VCU, I get it. Lost to Utah State, lost to New Mexico, but they haven't lost in forever. Okay. And so I get it. It's frustrating and I want to see you in. I'm not like trying to tear you down, but you gotta win one of those games. You got to win one of those games. There just weren't enough good wins in there. I don't know what else to say about it. It's frustrating. Now, from the San Diego State perspective, I will say this too. Okay. We can't believe all of these talking heads, right? That say, oh, the winner of tonight's game is going to be in. Like, look, they have a narrative to drive to get you guys interested. This is what I was referring to 3 weeks ago, whatever game it was, when they flashed that damn graphic on the screen 35 times. First four out, blah, 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 whatever, right? Like, they're trying to push this to draw you in and build up the intrigue and whatever the hell else they're trying to do, right? By saying that need this win, and if they get this win this, and they get this win that. None of those people knew anything, right? 2 years ago, we sure as hell didn't expect Boise to be in a play-in game. We didn't expect Nevada to get a 10 seed. We didn't expect Utah State to be in the 8-9 game, right? And so we can't trust anything as far as the committee goes with our conference. So I don't believe for a minute that the Aztecs are in, win or lose tomorrow. They might get in, But you have to also think about this, and this might not be fair, but you can bet your butt that it's going to come up. There's no way that they're above the first four, right? No way. If they're in, it's going to be a first four. Well, they were in the first four last year and they lost by 100. So I get it. That was last year, and they're probably not supposed to draw on last year. But do you honestly think that it's not going to be brought up if there's like four teams that they're picking two from for Dayton, and they say, well, they were just there last year and they lost by 30, and now we're going to take them again? So, like, that's going to creep into somebody's mind, fair or not. So I don't trust any of that when it comes to like them saying, oh, that they're in great position now. I don't know. Are they? Like, they were below New Mexico. Now they're going to obviously vault New Mexico. Okay. But I don't know. I don't trust it. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Let's see what happens Sunday. Win the game tomorrow and guarantee yourself a spot in the field. Because if not, you're playing Russian roulette. It's a 50-50 toss-up then. And that's if, like, there's no other bid thieves. Somebody else takes a bid from somebody, Ole Miss, St. Joe's, whatever else it might be. That's probably all the options there are right now. And you're going to be cooked, okay? They're not going to be in a hurry to say, we got to give the Mountain West a second bid. Like, I just don't see that, right? And so that's my feeling on it. I hope we get a second, however it happens. Obviously, at this point, it seems like it's 99% going to come from San Diego State would be the second, either automatic or at large. But I don't know. I don't know. All right, let me cycle through some of these, and then I'll look ahead at tomorrow's game. We're at 51 minutes. It's 3:40 here on the East Coast, so 1:40 Mountain, 12:40 Pacific. What do we got on here? I will get to the keys in a second, Devin. Grand Tetons wants Leon fired. Leon is not going to be fired. Matt wants the Lobos in. I don't think they're going to get in, Matt. Okay. Show is going the opposite angle here of the elevation. He's blaming the low elevation for UNM's loss. They wanted the high elevation. Yeah, what I was just picturing the end when Bird was on him for a set. It was definitely both of them, but Waters deserves the credit too. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, Albury downhill was a massive issue. But again, why doesn't Dutcher start Goon? Simmons and Heidi pair together, not a good combo in offense. Yeah, it is, but because you're not going to run plays for those guys. I mean, listen, that's just, they've been in a rhythm with that, and he's confident with that. Yeah, Reese had him in the first half. Yeah, okay, you're right. MVP. So look, he didn't do it offensively. Neither one of those guys did, Bird or Waters, but they both did a job defensively, 100%. So T-Mac says, since the CSU game, the coaching staff is focused on minimizing the smaller guards switching on Bouillon, and the few times it happened, BJ was able to defend. Okay, so that's a good observation. We know the Aztecs traditionally will switch 1 through 5, and that's when good coaches like Olin will get mismatches onto your guard. And if the Aztecs got away from the 5 switching and just switched 1 through 4, that keeps the paint touches away from Bouillon a little bit more. So good job there. Yeah, I get what you're saying, T-Mac. The guard switching on the bigs, no doubt about it. Yeah. Compton and Simmons played lower minutes. Guath had energy, Aztec fan says. Time split between the guards, maybe a little mentally drained. Yeah. I mean, look, you're playing for a championship, so you yeah, they did split at the foul line every time. It's very frustrating. Yeah, Waters was elite defensively, and BJ Davis with a very, very clutch drive. Okay. Very good game. Inches says a great college basketball game. Credit Albury, New Mexico for playing legit. But Goon was a game changer. Yeah. I mean, this was the Goon we thought we would get all season, right? Like, I mean, had he done this all year, they wouldn't be in this position. But, there we are. Is there a correlation between how the team defends and the free throws? I don't know. Grammer used to joke about the free throw defense. I don't know, maybe a little bit. Some mistakes down the stretch there. Certainly, the inbounds out of the timeout was not a good one. Good job by the staff for sure. Yeah, definitely shutting down Bouillon was key. Yeah, and I agree with you, Kay Wilson. Same thing on the other end of the coin, right? If San Diego State would have lost tonight, if Hall hits that prayer three from the wing at with 6/10 left, San Diego State wouldn't have deserved to be in, right? And then New Mexico would have probably been in the position, a little bit better position, because they were ahead of in the pecking order the Aztecs before tonight. Yeah, Goon did step up, JNR. So, Derek, you don't think the Aztecs will get in if they lose tomorrow? I mean, that comment, you made that before I went on my little thing there. Yeah, you don't think so either. Yeah, they're in if they win, 100%. Lonzo, you brought it. Yeah. I mean, look, clutch. Good credit to Dutcher for not calling timeout, right? He doesn't want Olin to set his defense. He had a timeout. And great job by BJ managing the clock properly, right? Because if he goes 3 seconds earlier, New Mexico has plenty of time to get a better look off. A lot of times you'll go earlier. He didn't, but he went with just enough time so that if he misses, they can go up and play volleyball at the rim and get an offensive rebound and score it. Wasn't necessary. Played out perfectly. Good job by the staff and BJ. What do we got here? Gwath. Is an inside presence defensively, 100%. Yes. And yeah, he had that. There was a foul he got called for. It was a clean block, but I mean, they miss calls all the time. Yeah, absolutely, Pizza Man. Yeah, they RSC, they broadcast the Mountain West, so they want to pump it up 100%. They want people to tune in tomorrow to CBS at 6 my time, 4 Mountain, 3 Pacific to watch the title game, even though there might be another one. I'm sure the ACC is on or the Big East or something else is on. I don't even know the schedule tomorrow, but of course they try to pump up the drama there. Yeah, Derek, I think you probably said that after I said this, but yeah, you're agreeing with me. Yeah, I think it's going to be discussed in there. It's gonna be discussed in there. You do have to just win tomorrow. That's right. You guys are saying it. All you got to do is just win tomorrow. Boise did probably have the best win of the season against St. Mary's, 3-1 against the top 2. Unfortunately, you also had 2 of the worst losses of the season. Yeah, I mean, they did get a hard time. I mean, the reason that they got the hard time, though, to be fair, K-Dub, is because that North Carolina team didn't belong anywhere near the tournament, right? They got in because their AD is the chair of the committee, old Bubba, right? We all remember the meme and the GIF of, or GIF, is it a GIF or a GIF of Bubba on the committee? And that's why North Carolina got in. They deserved to be in. He didn't belong anywhere near the field. And then they run San Diego State off the floor. And I don't want to say it was an embarrassment to the conference, but it wasn't a good representation of the conference when everybody was dunking on North Carolina for getting in, and then the Aztecs go out and lay an egg. And obviously, yeah, the Aztecs have a history of doing more than most other teams in the conference, obviously. New Mexico is not going to win every game. Otherwise, their net will be in the 20s. I know. You don't have to win every game, though, Emmy. All you had to do is win one of those 5. One. All you had to do was win one of those 5. And 2 of them were at home, and 1 of them was on a neutral. I mean, I don't know. Good guards. Well, guard play carries the day, yeah. And Nevada they didn't have it. Sky, yeah. Maybe Camper, but he tailed off. Sean, interesting. I mean, yeah, New Mexico could look at the New Mexico State game. San Diego State could look at the Troy game, right? Could be the one that keeps them out, 100%. If that's not on there, I'm sure it might be. First one is 70 wins, Paul says. Let's talk about that game. Aztecs need to win 1 game. Yeah, they do. Riley says that they both deserve to be in over Auburn. It's sickening seeing the teams mixed next year after year. If the Jersey said something different. Yeah, I mean, on the flip side, Derek said the Aztecs have the pedigree and the committee cares about that, right or wrong. There's something to that. I would agree with that. It's what's frustrating. The Aztecs have more talent and didn't consistently show up. Yeah, I mean, that's why I said many times in this show that they were just too cool for school, right? They didn't do enough all the time, and it cost them some games, 100%. But then they can show up tonight. Okay, I was curious. I was going to ask if anybody had that. I would have said about 2.5. So the Aggies favored by 1.5, Lonzo says. That's right. Troy, did they win or they're in the finals tomorrow? I think is there final tomorrow? Committee values teams that challenge themselves. They mentioned it in the past. Yeah, I mean, you did play Arizona. That helps. You entered the players and you played Michigan. Okay. Sunbelt. Yeah, Troy won the regular season. Are they in the title game or did they lose? I can't follow all these secondary tournaments. You were pulling for the Lobos. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, they did lose both by double digits, but the losses to Colorado State and Boise at home can happen. Exactly. You got to win one of those games. I mean, you got to win one of those games. They were favored by close to 10 points in both. Okay. You got to win one of those games. That's all there is to it. Aztecs had one bad loss. New Mexico had two bad losses. No one mentions their last quad 3 loss. Troy's the only bad loss. Yeah, Troy's their only bad loss. Problem is they didn't really have any good wins because Oregon ended up being wretched and they didn't schedule another game where they left one on the table, a game that they could have scheduled where like in other years, it's been like a Cal or St. Mary's or somebody like that. Go play that game on a neutral floor. Cal was a bubble team. That would be a great like data point, as they like to say, or St. Mary's. Go play that game. Why didn't you go play that game? Right. I know it's not always as easy as it seems, but go play that game. Okay. So Troy did win. Oh, yeah, you're right. They played in that stupid ladder tournament in the Sun Belt. You're right. Good call. I forgot. They had to play 2 games, and Georgia Southern had to play like 11 games in 11 days. Is that all New Mexico had? 1 quad, 1 win? I mean, look, that's why they don't deserve to be in either, Mike. They don't. I've said that. They don't deserve to be in either. I've said it all year, T-Mac. Their schedule was horrible this year. Biggest underperformer of the season was definitely Boise, 100%. Yes. Okay, let's talk about the game tomorrow. It's 3:50. I've been on here for an hour with only 2 games, but I appreciate all you guys being here with all your comments. I can't believe there's this many of you sickos in here, and I say that lovingly, okay, because I appreciate you being here with me. We only have, look, I'll be in here tomorrow night, obviously, well, afternoon for you guys, late afternoon, early evening for the championship wrap-up. Probably will come in Sunday to review the selection show, talk about the bracket, see where Utah State lands, hopefully where San Diego State lands with some miracle. I'm not going to expect it, but what happens with New Mexico. Maybe we'll wait and see what the deal is with the NIT. I know nobody really cares about that, but we'll see what the talking points are around that, who else is playing in other tournaments. But I'll come back and do that one Sunday, and then we'll have to see from there. I don't think I'm going to do shows around the tournament. Like, I enjoy watching those games. If Utah State plays at 3 p.m. on Thursday, I'm not going to come on here for one game. Like, I don't think that's worth it. If they would win on Thursday or Friday, and if San Diego State would win too, and we have 2 teams playing on Saturday or Sunday, maybe I would come in then and do a show. We'll have to see how it plays out, but it's possible that Sunday after the tournament would be the last show. So I'll have to talk to BJ about that once we get to Sunday. So just stay tuned for that. But obviously, I'm not in a hurry to get off of here because I'll miss these. I'm going to be it'll be bittersweet. I'm going to not miss being up till 4 a.m, although this is the last night for that anyway, since tomorrow's game's in the evening. We have no more late nights. But I'll miss the interaction, the comments, the questions, even if you guys disagree with me and we go back and forth about things. Like, I'm all good with that. That's why I'm here, and I appreciate you guys being along for the ride the entire time. Now, as for tomorrow, we know Utah State has a slight edge on the rest factor, right? The Aztecs played 3 hours later. They expended more energy tonight than Utah State did, okay? Even if it's just a few more minutes on the floor from their big guns. That's an edge for the Aggies. Now they split, each one at home. The Aztecs are the more desperate team tomorrow. The Aggies are already in, but that hasn't affected them the last 2 days. If their defense, Paul said first 1 to 70, I don't even know if we'll get to 70 tomorrow, because if the Aggies play the defense that they played tonight, and we expect the Aztecs to, and now with Guath at it, the way he was tonight, it's going to be points are going to be difficult to come by, okay? We have Waters and Bird able to lock down as best they can Falslev and Collins, right? Guath, is he going to be able to regenerate, re-up after playing 28 minutes tonight on back-to-backs? It'll be their third, both teams, but Guath's third game in 3 nights. So that's certainly not anything he's done this year. He's been on like load management. I hate that term in that stupid league, but we haven't seen that a lot. How's he going to be feeling tomorrow at game time? Is he able to go 28 minutes? What else do they have in store? Who's going to make shots? We know Harrington's not going to be there. So, I mean, the defense of the Aztecs, of the Aggies, has been the most impressive thing that I've seen in these 3 days. Obviously, the first day didn't really count because neither of these teams played that day, but they were just all over everything today. They were, right? And so if they do that again tomorrow, you're asking for Waters to make shots like he made that ridiculous fadeaway, maybe midway point of the second half. Like, he was well defended, and he shoots like a 15-foot Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway. That's a crazy difficult shot, and you can't rely on making those type of shots. They didn't shoot the ball much at all from deep last night. They didn't shoot it well from deep tonight, so you can't be counting on that. They got out in transition early. Olin stopped that in the second half. Are the Aggies going to allow that a little bit? When they played, I think each time when they played, the winning team was better on the glass. So who's going to win the battle on the boards? That's a key. Heidi, he obviously got a little banged up. Now, he wasn't overly effective, but you need him inside. He'll bang with Templin, right? We saw tonight Compton 4 fouls in 7 minutes. So if Heidi's not able to go and Compton is in foul trouble, he didn't use Odin tonight, thankfully. Like, no offense, J.O., but like, we didn't need Odin in the game. If you're an Aztec fan, you don't need him tomorrow. But if you don't have Heidi now, well, it shortens the rotation. It takes a big out of the lineup. Okay. Templin, for all the kind of grief that he gets for being an edgy player and that stuff, he can be pretty damn effective. And you need a guy in there to kind of, bang him around. And that's not necessarily Gwath, right? That's more of your Heidi. And if Heidi's out, that's a slight edge also for the Aggies. Okay. I didn't really, I saw him come back with the bandage, and Washburn on the sideline said he wouldn't return tonight. So we'll see if he's back in the lineup tomorrow or not. I'm going to assume again, we won't see Harrington. So we'll see probably the same starting lineup. If Heidi can't go, I would assume Dutcher would then throw Gwath in. So you may need more minutes out of Gwath, or as many as you got tonight. From the Aggies' perspective, if you need to find a way to nurse those minutes out of Perryman, because he comes in and BJ or Bird or whoever it is, they're like sharks in the water. Not that you're going to see the fear in Perryman's eyes, but he's really struggled in the last week or two, certainly in the 2 games here in this tournament, and they're going to be all over him tomorrow. I mean, even if he only plays 7 minutes, that could be like a 6-0 run or 2 turnovers, a fast break dunk, and then Calhoun's going to be, stomping up and down the sideline looking for somebody to get him out of there. He's going to have to use King or Falslev or somebody else at the point. Heaven forbid if Drake Allen gets in foul trouble. So that's the other X factor. How are they going to call the game? Who's going to have the whistle? Do we see Vern Harris? Do we see Mike Reed, although Reed hasn't been out here this week? Do we see, heaven forbid, Amy Bonner? Do we see, who else do we see, right? I don't know, what we'll see, how they're going to call the game. You have to figure they're going to call it like we've seen a lot of the games here in Vegas. They're going to try to let them play early on and not call as much. And then I'm sure once the second half comes, it'll tighten up, because the fact is, like, there's a lot of fouls happening here. I know we don't like when there's a ton of foul shots and a ton of fouls, but there's a lot of fouls occurring. There just are, okay? A lot of aggressive players, a lot of contact, a lot of, slapping and reaching and trying for blocks and steals and bodying up people, and there's a lot of fouls. So if you don't like it, stop fouling, right? I don't know what else to say about that. All right, let's see. What else? What did I miss on here? A lot of comments came flying in. Okay, what do we got? San Diego State, definitely quad 1 win tonight for the Aztecs. That will certainly help. There's no doubt about it. Appreciate you being a sicko, Lonzo Ball. Let's ride Aggies. You're riding with the Aggies tomorrow. DJ, props to me. Didn't realize I'm on the East Coast. Yeah. The funny thing is, I'm so out of it with the days. The channel needs more subs. Yeah, we didn't even start until mid-December. I don't know how the subs work, what a good number is. BJ was hoping we can get 500, and we got over 600, so I'm happy with that. I lost track of days. At some point downstairs when I was watching the game here, I was like, man, I got to get up for school tomorrow. And then I realized that it's Saturday, and I don't, in fact, have to get up for school. The funny thing, however, it's not funny, but the ironic thing is the little one will probably wake up at like 7 o'clock, which is 3 hours from now, and she'll want to go down and watch a TV or something. And I'll probably have to go down and I'll just lay on the couch and fall asleep. But I might as well just stay up all night and watch some film or something, because that's not going to go well. Thanks, JNR. I appreciate all the kind words. I do it because I like it. I love talking about this stuff. That's why I said I'm not upset about being up here till 4 a.m, even though I'm exhausted. Like, we don't have this in 2 weeks to do anymore. But I do it because you guys are in here. That's why I don't do, no offense to them, but that's why I don't do the Big Sky, or I don't do the Big West or whatever, because they don't have the fans and the interaction that we have here in the Mountain West. And that's why I started following and doing the pod and the stuff for the Mountain West a few years ago, because of the fans and all of that stuff. So you're in Columbia, T-Mac. Fantastic. I forgot about that. Yeah, well, if we all agreed on everything, it would be boring. And I do try to be objective. I get it. There's some opinions I have that are out there and wacky, but it's all good. Neutral court, Paul says, Aztecs for the win. Next season, when you have 10,000 simultaneous viewers, I'll only have, that's the thing, Pizza. The funny thing is, I love going through all the chat. It costs me some time, but I don't know how I would do it if I had that many. I think somebody said, maybe it was, I was watching a different pod or a different YouTube show. Maybe it was a 3-man weave. And they said that the Missouri chats have like so many people commenting in there after a game that, just like you said, they only kind of respond to the ones that are like, that pay to have their comment read. So yeah, I'm not quite there yet. We'll see. Aztecs, they certainly do have a great record at the Thomas and Mack. 50 wins since 2008. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. No doubt about it. You obviously hurt his hand. You could tell if he's out, it nicks him a little bit in a lot of ways. There's no doubt. And yeah, I would agree with that too, Lonzo Ball. Guath probably will be tired, and you can't blame him. 3rd game in 3 days. He hasn't done that since who knows when, because he didn't play in the conference. I don't think they didn't even make it that far last year. So he hasn't played 3 games in 3 days since maybe the Players era last year. And I doubt those 3 games were in 3 days then. So I don't know when the last time he did that was. First one to 62. That could be. Heidi's injury may play a part. You lose a big. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Goon says first one is 62 to 65. That's what I'm thinking, which is what you got tonight, right? 64-62. Now, there's always a potential for guys to make shots. But man, I just don't see a freewheeling offensive game. I think there's too much at stake. I think the coaches are too good. It's the 3rd time they're playing each other. There's no secrets. We're not breaking out new trick plays here to get open shots, right? It's just a matter of, is the energy there? And sometimes that energy, it affects you on defense, but sometimes it affects you on offense too. You don't have the legs to make your shots. You don't have the legs to make your cuts. You don't have the legs to run and sprint and transition. So yeah, it's not super. Mike, hopefully Heidi's a go tomorrow. You hate to have somebody not in there. I mean, it's still a tough shot though. Yeah, he is comfortable with it. He's also comfortable with his catch and shoot like an NBA shot. There's very few guys in college that can take, shoot, and make the shots that Waters does. So massive props to him. And Tay Simmons certainly is a beast. Doesn't play like a freshman. And as coaches say at this point in the year, you're not really a freshman anymore. You are a sophomore. New Mexico playing consistently aggressive in second half on D&O. Taught best to look to some Aztecs with multi-fouls in second half of games. Look at refs and attract calls. Yeah, I mean, they just call. Who knows what they're calling? Utah Valley. Well, they play in their final tomorrow. So that is a team that, they are in their final tomorrow, I think, against Cal Baptist in the WAC. So they will be in the final. Compton can hang inside with Templin, the commander says, but he's going to have 3. Yeah, he'll have 3 fouls by halftime. Exactly. So they both will. They might also have like a double technical. Thank you, Aztec fan. I see what you're saying. Okay, let's have a good game. I thought I was going to say, why are you rooting for the Aggies? Well, Derek, I said it on my pod a few years ago when I started. I had a little one right when COVID happened, and we were locked in. We chose to just stay in and kind of shelter in that first few months or whatever, once the little one was literally born, like next week, the year of COVID. And so basketball was shut down then. But the next year, I'm used to watching ACC, Big East, Big Ten, all the stuff that was East Coast. And then what would happen would be my time would be occupied with the little one in that 7 to 9-ish, 10 range when she's 1, 2, whatever. And so she would go to bed and I'd want to get my hoops fix in, and I'd put on CBS or FS1 and I'd start watching Mountain West games. And that's kind of just how it started. And I respected I always did, respected the coaches and the home court atmospheres and the environments and the basketball that was being played going back years. But then when I really started to watch it on a nightly basis, I was like, all right, I can get down with this stuff. And it just kind of grew from there. So that's kind of how it started. Appreciate that, Carson. I don't know about that. I am sweating though. I should have put the fan on in here. I didn't think we'd be going for an hour and 15. You have kids from age 2 to 36. Holy cow, 2 ex-wives. You understand responsibility. Yeah. Like, that was my first child, and I wasn't exactly going to be like shirking a responsibility to go downstairs and watch Duke or Penn State at 7:15. And so I just waited until she passed out or went to bed, and I'd put on the 9:30 game, and it would be, Boise and San Diego State. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool stuff. So that's kind of how that happened. Yeah, well, not yet, Mike. It's still the Mountain West final. So I know you're big on your pack, but for tomorrow and in the big dance, you'll be representing the Mountain West. Rome, I talked plenty about it. Go back to about the 35 or 40-minute mark. I spent at least 5 minutes talking about it. So disappointing. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if they don't spend enough time in practice on it. I find it hard to believe that Olin hasn't addressed it. But it's a crusher when you execute and get everything out of your ability and you lose a game because you can't make the most consistent shot in basketball. You don't even have to be a good shooter to be a good free throw shooter. So it's very, very difficult, frustrating to accept. I get that. Devin, time slot for this quarterfinal is so bad. Yeah, if you're in the late bracket, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. I mean, it sucks that they get these late slots for the semifinals, because next year it'll be totally different. Who knows what they'll do? And for the teams leaving, we'll have to see when they even run their tournament, where it is, when it is, no idea. I know the old Pac-12 used to do it on Saturday, but it was earlier. It was like right around overlapping with the current Mountain West, maybe even an hour earlier or something. So we'll have to see, but it is unfortunate. But, you're not going to run the final at like 10 o'clock tomorrow night, or, 7 local tomorrow night, just to give them more rest, like, especially if you want it on CBS. So I know it sucks and it's odd and it just doesn't line up properly, but I know it's not ideal. It just is what it is. Yeah, I know you meant the semifinal, Devin. I agree with you. It's one of those things that you kind of have to do your best with. I don't know. Yeah, I know. I'm going to see. Here's the only way I take that Air Force job is if they relocate to the Patriot League, because I'm really right in the neck of the woods of the Patriot League. I used to live right by Lehigh. I'm close to Loyola, Maryland. I have buddies at Lafayette. I have, that's right in my neck of the woods here. If they relocate to the Patriot, I'll consider it. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, they didn't get enough from Bouillon. As somebody pointed out earlier, Dutch and the staff, they didn't switch 1 through 5 that they normally do. They didn't get some mismatches down low. And, there also wasn't a ton of help, which causes like rotations and scrambling and other guys being open and stuff like that. Yeah, it is Steinbauer. It's definitely graveyard shift. I've done that before. When I was younger, I used to work graveyard shift. I used to deliver newspapers. My body, I don't need the full 8 hours. I don't even need 7 hours. And that's why I can still exist at a school. Like today, I was exhausted, but not one time did I start to like doze off. And my students are like, man, I'm tired. And I'm thinking, yeah, I got like 3 hours each of the last 2 nights. And you're telling me you're tired. I'm running on fumes here and you guys are tired. Yeah, they definitely clogged the lane. They just completely tagged Hall and didn't leave him at all. So Gwath didn't play a ton of minutes in the CSU game. You're right about that. So that should keep him a little bit fresher then. Okay. When would I? Yeah, of course. I don't have any gear. It's sad. I have one UNLV shirt from one time that I was out in Vegas like years ago before I started doing this. That's the only Mountain West paraphernalia that I have. My voice is cooked too. And I hear it all the time from my friends or my dad or whoever's watching says, why don't you stop and take a drink of water? You just talk the entire time. I don't know. I just, it is what it is. I don't blame you, Rome. Nothing's more frustrating than the free throws. It's brutal. Yeah, front ends. It's like it's a turnover. It's absolutely brutal. Okay, so I think we're gonna shut it down there. 4:09. So it's even 1:09 out in the Pacific time zone. If you guys are at the Mountain West tournament or out in San Diego celebrating this win, it's 1:09 a.m. You want to send me an SDSU shirt? Send me an email. All right, what's your email? I will send you an email. JNR, send me your email. I'll write it down, and I'll email you. Thank you, Rome. Appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys being here. So don't forget, I know the time will be a little bit earlier, but please check in tomorrow night after the game, win or lose, whoever you're supporting, Aggie fan, even if you lose, check in. If you're an Aztec fan and you guys lose, check in. I know we didn't have a lot of Lobo Nation that normally pops in here a little bit dispirited, I'm sure. That was a tough one to take. Played great rivalry, great way to end that rivalry. Probably won't see it for the foreseeable future. And I hope that, Lobo fans come back. Maybe they'll watch it later. Hopefully they'll check in tomorrow night after the sting wears off. But let's give the Sun Cruiser one more shout here. Appreciate them being a great sponsor all season. We got a few more shows to do. Go out and support Sun Cruiser like many have. Also, if you haven't done it, I know it's late in the season, but go subscribe there at the bottom at Mountain West BNN, at Mountain West BNN. Many of you have recently. Thank you, Derek. Thank you for being here. And if you didn't do it, JNR, send me what your email is. I'll take that Aztec shirt. There's no doubt about it. I know there's some Aztec fans that think I don't like them because I'm harsh on them, but I'm just harsh on everybody. I have high standards for some, and I can't. Probably XL, yeah. What's your email? I'll send you an email. Okay, so tomorrow night, after the game. So it's a 6 Eastern start. So 4 Mountain, 3 Pacific. So I would assume it starts on time, probably ends at 8:15. So that's 5:15 local, 6:15 Mountain. Probably go for, who knows, in theory, 40 minutes. But if you guys are all here and we're commenting and chatting and all that stuff, I will, XL, I'm sure is good for me, JNR, and XL. The 45 minutes or so, but if you guys are here chatting, we'll chat away, and then we'll be back Sunday with a post selection Sunday show. So the sun is coming up. Not yet. I got about an hour and a half, so I'm going to fall asleep probably within 3 minutes. I did last night, and I will do the same thing now. So I appreciate all of you being here all season long, tonight as well. We got one more game in the Mountain West for the season, one more for these two programs in their history in the Mountain West. Let's hope it's a great one, just like the nightcap was tonight. Appreciate all of you guys being here. And then come back tomorrow and check us out here on another night in the Mountain West. Appreciate all of you. See ya.
Get ready for the time of your life at Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's newest destination for fun, featuring the world's biggest poolside tailgate party with 3 levels of action, 6 pools, and a 143-foot screen. The fun is always on deck with all the games all year long. Stadium Swim, located in downtown Las Vegas on Fremont Street. Book the time of your life today at CircaLasVegas.com.